Good morning. It's Wisdom Wednesdays. I am Ariana Newcomer, Dove Oracle Priestess. And my topic today is your voice hiding the real you? And working with voices is one of the primary things that I do. And I work a lot with speakers. I work with singers who are healing from an injury. And what I've discovered in working with voices over many, many years and having worked through my own voice injury, which ended my classical singing career many years ago, is that we actually tend to, most of us, develop these unconscious habits that stop us from really expressing all of who we are through our voice, which is our primary instrument of communication and connection. Most of us think, okay, my voice is just the way it is, and there's nothing I can do about it. And mostly we just take our voices for granted. But really, your voice is an expression of your essence. It's an expression of your soul. If you do a voice print on a computer program, your voice print is not going to be the same as mine, and not the same as your sister or your neighbor or pretty much anyone else. Our voice prints are as unique as our fingerprints. So it's an opportunity for us to really come into more of who we are, the fullness of who we really are when we claim our full authentic expression with our own miraculous human voice. It's really, really an amazing, amazing instrument. So it contains more information about you than almost anything else. Just from how you sound, people get more of an idea of who you are. They get more information about your beliefs, your confidence, and your essence in about 5 seconds than they can get from pretty much anything else. The amount of energy you have in your voice, whether it's kind of monotone, whether it's very soft, whether you've got some kind of tightness in it, all these things communicate about who you are and about your essence. But most of us are hiding. And we have developed these ways of hiding with our voices. And there's a lot out there about when you speak, you need to really be authentic so that people can connect with you, so that you can connect with the audience. And that's absolutely true. People are much more interested in listening to someone who's really authentic than they are in listening to someone who's being very careful about what they're saying, and they're trying not to let on about what's going on the inside. It gets boring. And communication is really central in life, wouldn't you agree? And if that is so, then your voice as your primary instrument of communication is actually really essential. So when you start to strip away the things that you have layered on top of your voice and learn to control the elements of your voice, you are going to become so much more able to express your authentic self, connect with your audience, improve your leadership skills, boost your confidence on this really fundamental level, be more charismatic, be more impactful, create that bond with the audience, with your listeners. And another thing too, you can learn how to project your voice without getting tired. So if you don't have a microphone and you're speaking in a room that's kind of deadens the sound, you can be heard by the people at the other end of the room. Or how about being in a restaurant that's really loud? That's really a thing these days. The restaurants are supposed to be really loud for some reason. It bugs me like crazy. But being able to actually talk to the person across the table from you without yelling, without your voice getting tired, these are all things that we can learn. So we have this incredible capacity and capability with our voice if we do a little bit of training. And I'm not talking about training the way an opera singer trains or even the way an actor trains. Hi, Vicki, nice to see you. To to be able to use our voices much more effectively, to do a little bit of strengthening, to get some understanding of how this instrument works so that you can use it and take care of it. When you can do that, you come into this authentic, confident, and powerful expression of all that you are through your voice. And it impacts us on all these different levels. And if you've been following Wisdom Wednesdays, you might have heard me tell Connie's story. Connie had a tiny little voice like this. And when Connie learned to open up her voice, and she had to uncover what the reason was why she had created that tiny voice, she didn't actually realize that she had created a tiny voice because she grew up hearing from her parents all the time that girls should be seen and not heard. So she had unconsciously created a voice that couldn't be heard, and yet her brain told her if she spoke any louder than that she was yelling. So she couldn't actually do the exercises I gave her to strengthen her voice until we uncovered that core voice story that was holding her back, that was causing her to hold back. And so many of us have these stories, like nice girls don't toot their own horns. That's one I grew up with. So it's really hard for me to promote myself as a solopreneur. And some of the other stories I have seen from clients. I had a client who had become a minister, and she'd gotten feedback that her preaching was kind of below par. So she actually came to work with me to help her ability to get her spiritual message across to her congregation. What we uncovered for her was that she had had a sister who was really, really dramatic. And she had actually decided unconsciously, again, I'm not going to be like my sister. And she had actually developed this very, very flat, monotone way of speaking. And if I keep speaking like this, you're all going to get really bored and fall asleep, right? So we're not going to do that. And then some other people have had parents who really were critical, and those people also tend to develop a habit of holding the voice back. And we can also get into habits like this of speaking in this really kind of tight way, and that can actually cause an injury to the vocal folds. So we need to clear that up if you have a voice problem. Another thing that's really common these days is speaking like this. It's called vocal fry. And the vocal folds are actually kind of slapping together. This can also cause an injury. So I've worked with many women from the corporate world who deliberately lowered the pitch of their voice in order to sound more authoritative, because another story that we have, this is a cultural voice story, is that the voice of authority is male, and what women have to say is not important. So in lowering the pitch of their voice, they would often go into this fry, and then they get home at the end of the day and couldn't talk because they had actually strained their instrument. So learning how to claim the authority of your voice in your own pitch range is another one of the things that we work with. It's really, really important to be able to do that. And I've worked with a couple of female airline pilots who had this issue that they actually did have to drop the pitch of their voice to get their co-pilots, who were men, to pay attention to their voice. Otherwise, if they spoke in their normal female range, it seemed like their voice just went in one ear and out the other, and their co-pilots wouldn't even respond. That's just such a succinct demonstration of this cultural voice story that we have, that we don't have to pay attention to what women say. What women say is not important. So think about how important it is for you, especially as a woman, to really be able to claim your voice and speak with authority and authenticity so that you can actually be heard and understood. So your voice can be your gold, or it can really be holding you back. Some women also have a kind of a little girlish way of speaking. And that, of course, feeds even more into this, the female voice is not authoritative. And so how do we claim more authority in the female voice? And we can do it by doing a few things that help to strengthen the voice and help you to claim your essence and claim your inner authority. So there's some inner work that goes on because, again, our voice is an expression of our essence. So if we are holding back, if we're holding ourselves back, we're holding our voice back. So a held back voice is an indication of a held back personality. And then some people have the opposite problem. Usually it's men, but sometimes it's women, of just speaking in this really booming kind of voice that sort of takes the space and takes everything over and doesn't really give room for anybody else. And that's another thing, learning to modulate our voice so we have melody in our speaking voice instead of being kind of all on one level, either be it monotone or be it kind of assaulting everyone with the voice. So there are so many layers and levels to this. It's really wonderful work. It's really beautiful and exciting. And so if you would like to have a voice that is richer, where you can speak for hours without getting tired, if you want to correct a kind of nasal voice quality, if you want to be more resonant, if you want to have a healthy voice, if you want to know how to project, if you want to be truly heard and understood so that you can feel more confident, be more charismatic, have more impact, impacting people, drawing them in, using your voice, the voice of your soul. This is what I call the voice of your soul. My kind of tagline is Healing the Soul's Voice, title of this page. That's what our soul's voice is. It's the expression of everything that we are, all of who we are, not just the parts of ourselves that we allow to be expressed in sometimes it's like tiny little thread of voice because I'm afraid. I'm afraid because at some point in my life, I was told that girls should be seen and not heard. So I'm afraid to be heard. Yeah. So we uncover, when we work together, we'll uncover those unconscious ways that you're holding your voice back. We'll correct any particular vocal problems that you have and allow you to really claim your authentic voice, your soul's voice, so that you can really use it to enrich your own life and enrich your professional life and come home to yourself in a really profound way. So if you're interested in working with your voice, I'll put a link to my online calendar in the comments below, and I look forward to talking with you soon. Bye.